Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carlos Phoenix with the Indie Lounge, and today I have a very different show because we've decided to go international. And so I have a absolutely beautiful woman. Her name is Jahna Sebastian, and I'm going to introduce her right now. So, hello, Jahna.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
Doing?
So, if you can let the viewers know where you are, where you live, and all that type of stuff.
I live in London. Particularly in Croydon, which is the south part of London, and it's also supposed to be like the cradle of dubstep. So I've got my studio here, and I'm here right now. It's called Multivision Music, and I've recorded a lot of different artists here, as well as my own music.
Very cool. Now, are there any particular artists that we might recognize that you've recorded there?
I've mostly worked with UK artists and also some Russian artists as well, and
Cool.
they're mostly big over here and there. But yeah, I'm looking to work with.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a cool studio. So tell us a little bit about you. So you are in London, and you do a variety of different styles of music. What got you into music to begin with?
It's been pretty much a very natural way of doing it, because I was a child, I've been singing, and then when I was about 8 years old, I joined the orchestra. So I was playing their Russian instrument, which is called domra, and it's similar to balalaika. We performed on many different stages, backed different artists, including like Russian pop artists and classical yeah, that pretty much gave me an idea of kind of like producing something, but like in a way of an orchestra. So I'm using this kind of skills when I'm producing right now. And when I was about 11, I just decided to do music professionally.
Wow.
It just hit me. So since that time, I've been pretty consistent. So I graduated school a year earlier on a special program, and when I was 16, I entered Russian Academy of Music, where I studied, and I got the degree, and I did also the 5-year program in full. Like I've been studying, then I got into different bands, moved to London, started my own studio here, and also did music production course. So it's pretty much music has been part of my life and my lifestyle for as long as I can remember.
That sounds, I mean, that's a lot, especially when you started off at 11 thinking professionally. Now, you mentioned a musical instrument. So is this something that your parents kind of got you into? Were your parents into music at all?
No, that's the thing. My parents are not musicians. And in fact, they were actually not very supportive because they in the beginning. Especially my dad, because they said, "Oh, you need to get a proper job and go to a proper university and start and study something like IT or law, something like that." So, my mom, she kind of recognized it, like how serious it was when I invited her to one of my shows, and she was in the VIP, and I was performing in front of like 2,000 people, and she kind of realized, oh, okay, there's no way back. So yeah, I just, I don't know, I kind of just wanted to do it, and I just had this passion. And the thing is, when I was a child, when I was listening to music, I remember that it was very similar to the way we were taught to do it when I was studying music production, is to separate different sounds. And even like when I was 12, I remember I wasn't just listening to the vocals. I was listening to like the kicks and the snares and the bass, and like really analyzing what's in there. And it's just, initially I didn't know how to turn it like into a professional thing, like apart from like going to uni and just doing it every day. But then it just like was sort of happening naturally. So
now, were you born in London, or were you born in Russia?
Yeah, I was born in Moscow in Russia. So at that time it was Soviet Union, so it's
Right.
USSR. And it was the year when Chernobyl happened as well.
Wow. So the fire pretty much started from the beginning. And so I know in Russia, I mean, music is very a big deal. I mean, I'm American, so what do I know? But I believe it was. So you enter these programs, or there's something that's already preset from the government where you can just enter these programs, or how does that work? Or how did that work?
In terms of the orchestra, basically, that was actually put together by Stalin, because there was an orchestra of like for adults who were performing all around the country in those times, and he said, "Oh, I want a children's version of that." So it has been running for a long time. And it was the orchestra and the ballet and the choir, so about 200 people altogether. And with that said, I mean, that was a great experience. But I think, like, even like the Russian Academy of Music as well, that has existed for a very long time there, and it's one of the most prestigious places for music in Russia. However, the strength about it is in classical music. With Russian pop music, which was one of the reasons why my parents were against it. Like, the show business there is a totally different kettle of fish. And it's very dirty. I mean, it's very grimy if you want to get in there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the times it's not about musicianship. So it's kind of like, on the contrast, you have really strong tradition of like opera and you know, the classical music. And obviously when I was in the academy, like I learned to play like Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and Bach, and like that's how you grow up. But on another hand, if you want to be like on MTV and be a part of the pop culture, you have to like put all of that aside, and all you're gonna hear is, it's not about the music, it's all about the money.
Wow.
And also you know, the way it's done there, it's kind of like there's no such thing as record deals where, like, based on your talents, hopefully like you can get noticed and somebody's going to get you signed, and then they give you an advance to put your career forward and to release an album. That's not the way it is. Like, over there, if you're doing classical music, you can go and sing in the theater, like in the opera theater or something. But if you want to just like put out an album like Madonna or something like that, you'd have to have a sponsor in the first place. So you have to have a rich dad or a sugar daddy. And that costs at least $1 million at that time.
I was thinking of the sugar daddy thing. Okay.
So yeah, that was quite a conflicting situation, you know, and yeah, you know, in a way that was kind of like, it was a weird experience, you know, trying still pursuing to pursue music over there, especially like in the 90s, you know, because the 90s were the times of, you know, where Moscow was like very similar to Wild Wild West, you know, with all the mafia and everything.
Wow.
And mafia was back in the music business over there a lot. Okay. So you had to be kind of like be a part of that world as well.
Wow. So it's a very different world. I mean, it sounds like a completely different world, a different way of doing things. Now, but at some point there was a decision that you made to go from your traditional to the to electronic or dance or the type of music, the grime, as you mentioned. What snapped in your head? I mean, was it because you were young, or was it just a business decision?
No, it wasn't a business decision. It's just that I have always like, I've been growing up listening to all types of music. So I've been exposed to both classical music and at the same time, when I was 3, I was like the biggest Michael Jackson fan ever. You know, so I kind of have always been able to kind of understand different genres. So especially when I was a teenager, I used to listen to a lot of rock music as well. And trying my hands on that as well. So I've never been like kind of just just in a box in that sense. There's never been a time when I just listened to one type of music. So I think the classical background, it helped me a lot in in composition and being able to arrange the music, because obviously it's quite complicated. If you can decipher different sounds of it, then you can pretty much understand anything else. So I think one helps another, and also I like to go with times. So I want like my music to be the sign of the times that I'm living in. So whatever is going to happen in 20 years time, I'm going to try and pursue that genre as well. I don't know what it's going to be called, like something step or hop or whatever. Hopefully I'd be able to, experiment so much that I could, find my own like little subgenre or something like that. But I like to go with what's out there, and look into the future. But you could be the last one to let me know. I'm looking for love that I can trust. I need a soul that will understand my way of who can be us fast in ever-changing.
Now, who are you a fan of?
Well, Michael Jackson. That's like from childhood. For different reasons, I've been a fan of Prince because he's like a multi-instrumentalist, and same thing, like he writes and arranges and produces everything, and then he sings, and then he goes on stage and he can play any instrument as if it's his own main instrument. Okay. And also Whitney Houston, because when I was especially growing up, when I was like learning to like sing professionally, I'd put a lot of her songs, and they're quite not difficult, but they're quite challenging to sing because they require a big range, and they really help to develop your voice. So I know like almost all of her songs by heart. And when she died, I was crying, like seriously. It was like it was very personal for me. And then on the other hand, there's been other artists, that I've been following as well. I'm a fan of, Madonna's ability to reinvent herself, like the ultimate, like pop artist that's been able to stay.
She's been very good at that, that's for sure.
And especially when she was younger, like she was putting a lot of those things out there, and that nobody has done before. And they, whatever it is, like I think that the point of music generally is to create a dialogue. So to make people talk to each other. So even if it's like both like love and hate for whatever you're doing, at least it makes people think like, what's that about? So on another hand, there's been like loads of different like electronic music producers as well that I've been listening to, like Chasing Status and different like house and garage and drum and bass
right.
artists. So
it sounds like the stuff you're pursuing now. Tell us a little bit about what you're working on now.
I'm working on my upcoming EP, which is going to be out in May, and it's going to be called I'm Free. And I've got the first track of a bit already out, like online with my music video for it. I've also released the Edge of Love EP recently, so that's been going really well as well. And after the EPs, I'm also looking to put out a production album, which is going to mostly feature other artists on the vocals, with me doing less vocals and just doing the beats.
Got it.
Production.
Yeah, you're probably one of the first few people that I've had on the show. Most of the people I have on the show are like the actual singers, which you are. But on a rare occasion, there's a couple of people that might be the own producers or the ones that are doing all the beats and everything. So that's kind of neat. Now, let's put something on right now so that people can listen to your music. What would you like to put on right now?
That would be One Day from the Edge of Love EP.
All right, cool. Well, let's do that. So we're going to play One Day.
Okay. Hello?
Oh, hi, babe. Are you still coming tonight?
Excuse me? Hello?
Baby girl, what are you doing on my phone? Well, why are you going through my phone?
Who's Susie?
Susie, she's a good friend.
A friend?
Susie.
With a kiss, yeah? With a kiss.
Yeah, no, she's a
and
good
she's
friend.
saying, hey babe, I want to come, and
No,
all that?
no.
No. You need to explain
Give me
who the
my phone.
hell is this?
Give me
Who
my
the hell
phone.
is this?
Give me my phone.
You're an idiot.
Oh.
Holding back from you, not the one I'm calling. Take it up higher.
the video. The video one day, basically I wrote the script based on just my thoughts on how a relationship can change you within one day. So it's something that happens and it just hits you and that's it. You just have to totally rearrange your life. So in this case, obviously there's a breakup that happened and it's because of some other girl, and it's also because of the jealousy issues. And the choice that I've made in the video was to, instead of going and fighting with the other woman and continue fighting with the guy, I went on and pursued my own goals and had a happy life, you know, and just like, and then the problem solved itself because the guy strangled the girl. But when you watch the video, you'll be able to see what it means. So, yeah, and I've got Kevin Hudson to film it. We've worked on 6 videos so far with him. He's a very talented young director. He's only 23, but he's working really, really hard and he's very creative. In the other videos, he has done loads of like special effects, and I was like amazed on how he could do it. So
now, how are you finding budgets to do this, or is everybody just kind of working?
Pardon?
How are you doing the budgets? Like, how does that? I used to work in music videos. Now, direct music videos, the videos were like $2 million. Now, this is a different world nowadays, and no record label even spends anywhere near that much.
Yeah.
So what's your budget like, or do you even have a budget, or how do you work it?
We work out partially like kind of like Gonzo style, and partially, and partially just being creative where I can't put the money to, because I think I've been able to create the videos that look like they cost a lot more, but they actually, are not very expensive at all. But it's through, my videos, like I'll be honest with you, they're under £200, but,
I don't know what that means. £200. How much would that be dollar-wise? Do you know?
Like $300.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and special effects and everything. That's pretty wild. That's pretty impressive.
But it really depends. Like, because, for example, when we have like certain scenes, I'm able to like we work out things where like some say the script, like I'll write the script and I think about different things. Then I'm my own stylist and I go and pick the clothes. And usually I need to have like 3 or 4 changes of clothes. I do my own makeup. I do everything which is referring to my own looks. Then we plan to do some scenes, and if it's supposed to be in a certain location, then I find ways to either negotiate with friends, or people that I know, like even like when we did the club scene or something like that, where we end up not paying anything, but it's just having relationships with people and working things out in that way. And then what else? Yeah, then there's apart from the premeditated stuff, we also, me and Kevin, a lot of the times we just go out and look for things to come up, like certain locations. Like, for example, there's been like some shots on the car park, and they really turned out really great. Okay. That cost us nothing, but the light and everything was there. So, and Kevin, he's like I'm very fortunate in working with him because he is equally great at doing the camera work, also editing, and he can learn pretty quickly. Like, for example, if you ask him to do something that he hasn't done before, he will go online and on YouTube and do whatever he
and just learn.
To learn, yeah, and he'll put it in there. He'll never says, "Oh, I can't do this." So, so it's a lot of the times we have to be like extra creative about things. So, and in terms of like the clothes as well, some of the clothes that I found that I've been wearing, I found it like the weirdest, strangest places in London, where usually if you're on a major label and you think like, I'm going to spend like 10 grand or 20 grand on this video, so we're going to go and pick out these clothes. They'll go to some designer shop and get it designed and stuff like that. It's gonna, just the clothes alone is going to cost them 5 grand or something.
Right.
You know? But like when you don't have that option, like you just have to think, oh, maybe I can pick something in that like shop that nobody knows about, but a lot of film people actually go there, and I've learned that, and just go like on a journey about it. So yeah, I mean, we've got like some weird. One time actually, when I was doing Poison music.
This is what I like to hear: the stories, the little behind the scenes secrets. Go ahead.
When we were filming Poison music video, I was wearing this like red costume that I put together. So it was like a red leotard and some tights and shoes, like high heels. So that wasn't much clothes. And
I have to see this video.
Yeah. So, and it was very, very cold. I think it was January or something.
Wow. Okay.
It was extremely like freezing. It was raining as well. So me and Kevin, we went out in central London looking for different locations. So we found this alleyway, but it was on the side of a big road. So, but it looked really cool. So when we were filming it, there was a massive police van that was passing by to arrest some people that were just like being naughty, so like around the corner. So that massive police van, it's not like regular thing. It's to put in like 15 people in there.
Oh, boy.
It just stopped there in front of us, and it was just standing there for about 5 minutes. And the guy who was driving it, one of the police, he was just watching there, like, and nodding to the music. and so I just had to go on with action because I just had to continue like performing,
right.
And Kevin, he had to continue filming. But like me and Kevin, we both thought for a minute that, oh my God, like, are they not going to arrest us? Hopefully not for my costume being here in the street. Wow. Like that. And then when then eventually they realized that they have work to do, so they went off. And when we finished, we were passing by like the next street where they were in, and we actually did see how like they were putting like some people in the handcuffs.
Oh wow.
And yeah, there's been like there's been like different things,
Now you seem like a very I mean, just your attire, your hair, all that stuff, and this is maybe me reading into it, but you seem very business oriented. Do you find yourself being very business oriented?
Yes, definitely.
I mean, you're doing everything yourself, and I kind of know that feeling a little bit, but that's a lot of work, organizing the music videos, writing the songs, having your own recording studio, doing beats for other people. That's a lot of organizing and stuff like that. So I'm guessing you figured a lot of that stuff out yourself, or was that part of what you did in school?
I did study some of it at school. However, because I studied in Russia, it was very different in a way.
Now, how did that change when you went to London?
It's just, luckily, actually, when I was doing my final written work to get my degree, I actually picked the theme of the work to be comparing the record labels in UK to the record labels in Russia. So I did a bit of research just before I came to London, just to complete that. However, it's entirely different. As I said, like in Russia, the roots of the show business are in like the mafia.
Wow. Do you think that's still the case now?
It's still the case now, but in a different way, because a lot of the people from the mafia, they kind of, got into like official business.
So they legitimized it.
But it's still kind of similar way of dealing with things. And like, for example, in Russia, you wouldn't be thinking about record sales. That's not the point of putting the song out. I think where we are in the music business right now is kind of like similar to what was going on in Russia for years now, where people only make money from touring and hopefully merchandise and whatever else, whatever other deals that bring like that fame and being known brings to the artist. So nobody would ever even think about putting an album out and thinking like, oh, am I going to sell like 100 or 200,000 copies in the first week? Because nobody's going to sell that. People just, the pirate market is massive there. So most people, they learn to download stuff for free or just go and buy those CDs 5 times cheaper, and that's it.
And that's true almost everywhere but the United States. Now, the United States does have a pirate market and stuff, but it's not as widespread as I feel. I've gone to South America and I've gone to different locations in Europe, and I find that that's the case in all those different countries. You buy a CD for $2, that the artist never makes a dime out of that. And then, of course, and then the download market, forget it. I mean, nobody buys software, nobody buys music.
That's right. And on top of it, in Russia, the pirate CDs would be actually printed in the same factories that would print the license for the Russian artists. So
that's crazy.
Those factories would print Madonna's or Christina Aguilera's pirate CD and some Russian singers. So it's like nobody would be there to go and catch and look for them, Mm-hmm. So because of that, kind of like when I came here, like, and obviously with all the changes that I came here in 2006, and pretty much in the last few years, like with internet and everything, that's when like the music business has been going through these major shifts.
Right.
And like I wasn't scared of like thinking, like I came with a mindset of thinking of music business as like being oriented towards the other ways of selling your art and craft other than the actual songs. So like generally it has been like this before the record industry appears, like before people found a way to just record the songs and put them on vinyl or on the CD on some type of hardware. Like 100 years ago, the only way that musicians would make money from music would be performing, like doing live shows. So, and that has been going on for the entire history until the 20th century. So we're back to that. But because in Russia, record industry never happened in that big scale as it is. So I came with that mindset, knowing that, songs are kind of like, if people want to download it, that's fine. But I'm not one of those that gonna, like, I've seen my personal, like, music and videos being pirated and copied. And,
wow.
And
it's almost, now, how do you feel? Like, how does that make you feel? In other words, that doesn't that mean that you're recognized now enough that they're going to pirate you?
Yeah,
so is that a good feeling or a bad feeling? Because that you're still not making money off of it. How does that feel?
No, for me, I just think that if people want to share the music, that's fine. And the thing is, even if one person buys one copy, there's no guarantee that they're going to share it with 10 of their friends. And so there's nothing really to be worried about,
That's a very different attitude than it is here in the United States.
Because I know what you mean. Because the reality of things is that the artist still gets very, very little money, even when they're on the major label from from major releases. If you're like doing like 10,000 copies of an album in the first week or something, you're not going to see like almost nothing. So there's no point like in fighting with your own fans, because if fans pirated your stuff and they're sharing it, even though they have it for free on their iPad or iPod or whatever, they could still go and purchase the ticket to see you perform. It's these are the same people, and I've seen this happen. Thousands of people that would download the tune for free, but they'll go and buy the T-shirt for $15 or something. So, and maybe buy not one, but like buy every T-shirt that you release. So you actually end up making more money.
Well, that's good.
Same fan.
Now, how do you? What do you do? I mean, you've been on tour. In fact, let's go a little bit into your performances or places that you've performed. you've toured, you've performed in some nice major venues. What do you do performance wise to kind of say, you know what, the fans have got to see this?
When I started performing my own lyrics, that had the roots in the live band scene. So I had the live band going on, and that was before I learned to make the beats. So like I was about 18, 19 at the time. But that was in Russia, and I was kind of like already getting into producing a band. So I would I'll write the song and I'll come to my band and tell them what kind of riffs I have in my head, and then they'll put it together, and then I approve of certain things that they offer. And it wasn't like some little student band or anything. Like we were properly, performing and getting paid and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we were raising social issues as well, like with racism over there, which actually led to me going to London. That was one of the reasons, because we did get blacklisted by the neo-Nazis for the issues that we were putting out. But in terms of music, I just at the moment, since I moved to London, I had to learn to make my own beats because I didn't have a band in the first place at the beginning. Then I have performed with bands as well, who would play my music. However, I just found that a lot of the times I just, perform on stage on my own, but with a backing track of my tunes. But I'm making a lot of dance music or that, or even if it's slow music, I still put in some drums that the audience can feel on the big sound system. And even if I'm on my own on stage, I'm trying to kind of give all of my energy to the crowd. Even there's a few thousand people. So mostly here it has been just me and the music, but I think it gives you a lot of experience in being able to kind of going out there, and if you can capture the audience just being by yourself without all the big show behind you, then you can do it. When you have even 10 people around you, it's kind of less scary. When you're just by yourself and the stage is massive, all you're going to do is jump around and, you have to invent things, find creativity in being limited, in that sense. However, if I had the budget, then I'd definitely put on a show, but I wouldn't copy. I don't like to copy people. I'd just come up with for me, the ultimate show is creating a story, a moment on stage for every song, but at the same time, trying to bring something forward, some art, some something that's going on in the film industry right now, and put all of that on stage. So I think a lot of the times at the moment, for me, mainly I have a lot of ideas, but it's only the limitations are only in the money. And I can turn $1 into 1,000. Look
$300. I mean, that's
so yeah. Hopefully, when I go on a big tour around the world, for me, that would be an ultimate goal is to be able to put on a really big show with everything. But I'm not going to just copy some other.
Right. So you have a music now that you're putting together and releasing. What is next? What's your next step? You mentioned earlier to me you had 7 EPs, a bunch of music videos, which hopefully we'll present on our music video show and that will be launching soon. But what's next in your agenda? And how do you know when you're going to reach that next level of goal that you want?
So far, I think I've mastered doing it as an independent artist. The DIY way, I know everything about it, from printing the CDs by myself and designing the covers to doing the videos and like overseeing all of the, like even picking the actors for the videos, like to obviously doing everything 100% on my music. Although I've collaborated with other people as well, because it's good to sometimes to work with other people.
Every morning, I ain't lazy. Hit that building site, I sweat and bleed for these wages they pay me. Wasted talent makes anyone crazy. When they ask you what you doing here, man, you're amazing, matey. There's 1 million ways to blow, choose one. Run up, it's only with 2 guns. Hijack radio 1, 6 cycle in the back of a truck. But I can't be waiting on Lady Luck no more. She don't look good enough. Yeah, it's gonna take hard work down the rock bottom, but at least you know which way is up. So I'ma keep going till I'm making it, till I'm seeing, smelling, tasting it. When Arnold Schwarzenegger walks in, with my new life turns to the old one and starts erasing it. When I'm breaking it, and they're hating it. Seeing me and my guys named up in them bright lights when Billy's staging it. 100,000 clocking these letters on my chest. DWYF. Do what you feel, that's the way of living that I rep until I'm dead. The lost enemy's the name of my team, so when they're telling me only the strongest survive, I can bet my life we're the last ones left.
One day, there's a million ways to fight for your rights, end of life, choosing the fast lane, no time to waste, go and reach your heights.
So I've mastered that, and I think it gave me strength, to be able to, like create something out of nothing. And the next step would be, I do want to release an LP, like a full album. And like with my EPs, like even my EPs, they're pretty long. Like the one that I just released had 7 tracks in it, so that's a bit longer than a standard EP.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
And for me, that would be definitely, I would want to get signed, but I have like different labels that are interested in me like right now, but it has to be the right deal where I still have a certain amount of creative control, but at the same time they can do something like working with me in ways that I can't, like they can do something for me that I can't do myself already. And I totally understand the way the music industry is in, and obviously that's why you're right, like about like the being like business minded, because today just being a musician and just being out there, in the clouds writing the songs is not enough. You have to understand what's going on there, because today you have to create a brand. So for me, like music is my passion. But I also have other things that I want to do.
So like what?
Like I want to deal with fashion, and I have like some like loads of ideas already right now. But it's just, again, you have to focus on one thing first and get to a certain level, and then that will allow you to pursue other things. Because otherwise, you end up like spread too thin. So
you sound like me, by the way.
Yeah.
I've had these conversations before with musicians and other meetings that I've had for this, for just even this business.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fashion. I definitely want to, because I'm doing a bit of acting on the side.
Nice.
But I want to be able to focus on that more in the future as well. So pursue that. I definitely would want to direct films, and also just be able to be a part of, just a lifestyle in different ways. I want to definitely work with a company like dealing with technology, because like I'm really, I've always been really interested in everything to do with computers and gadgets, and so it could be anything. It could be a mobile phone company. It could be a company really like making headphones or microphones. I definitely would want to work on some of my own musical instruments, like electronic music instruments, and also work with properties.
Like real estate? Like real estate? What do you
Yeah.
mean by- Really? Okay.
But not, but in a creative way. Again, where I could get something that, say, for example, could be in some place that nobody looks at yet, but it's about to explode, and people think that it's nothing special, and I go and pick it and make it into a palace, and then all of a sudden it becomes like the most trendy area, like things like that, like not just for the sake of it, but more like projects.
Okay.
More like projects, as you think, like.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Disney thought of things like that too, and they said, well, it's a bunch of crappy land. We'll just build an entire amusement park there.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely would want to also have like clubs.
Okay, so you're extremely ambitious. That's awesome.
Very ambitious, yeah. No. And hopefully I'll get to do this, all of that in this lifetime.
In the next 5 years, we'll just squeeze it into a 5-year plan.
Exactly.
Very good. Okay, so let's wrap this up. How can people follow you? Where do you want them to find you? Facebook, Twitter, that type of thing. Instagram.
It's Facebook is Jahna Sebastian World, and Twitter at Jahna Sebastian, Instagram at Jahna Sebastian. Also my website, jahnasebastian.com. I think those are pretty much the main social networking sites.
Very good.
And also, I make loads of different beats, so people want to reach out for beats and for like collaborations. They can also contact me on either of those outlets, so I'm open.
Okay. Now, are you any plans as far as the United States? The way I got communicated with was through a PR firm here in the U.S. So is that something in the plans, is to bring something to the U.S.?
Yes, definitely. I've actually been supported quite well in the US recently. There's been loads of like sites that have been putting my music on there and
cool.
done some radio interviews. So I feel the vibe there is great, and I definitely would want to come to the US and perform, work with different artists and producers, and see how it goes.
Now,
Really
is this your first video interview?
No, I've done them.
Oh, my heart is broken. That's okay. I understand. Well, very cool. I do appreciate you being on the show. You're beautiful. I'm going to put some more music on this episode, and also we're going to be introducing you on the music video show as well, so that way we can get some more fans in the U.S. for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You've been great. Don't leave yet. I'm just going to say goodbye to the audience, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching the show. This is Carlos Phoenix. Again, this year is going to change. We're going to have a whole new set. We're going to have a bunch of new things happening. You're going to be able to watch our show in airports soon, hopefully. So check us out. And theloungenetwork.com is where you can find our show and many other shows and music videos and video shows and movies and all sorts of stuff. So a lot of things happening this year. So keep watching. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
The pain in the cold walls that